Hey guys, welcome back to a video where I was wrong. We didn't get the new pack yesterday. Unfortunately, my theory was wrong, guys. But nevertheless, I'm going to talk about the new cards today. They will probably come within a week or something around the 10th of or 11th of May. This is normally when the new packs will release. So we are going to talk about the new stuff and I will rank the new stuff even though we don't have it at the current moment here. You can see we have Memento here, we have Horus here, we have a Salamangreat here, and we will rank these in new cards. Obviously, we're also getting the SP Linlight, which definitely is very important for some decks. Over some decks I will go a bit faster, over other decks I will talk a bit longer. For example, these decks here that haven't really got new stuff like Flonderies or like Punk, I will rank them quite fast, and then we will talk about the more important and interesting ones later on. Let me know in the comments what you think of this tier list. Also, if you have not subscribed already and you like my content, it would be very helpful if you subscribe. Okay, so we have Punk here, as you know, not my favorite kind of pile, but Punk you can play with a lot of things together. You can also play them together with the Horus cards, a Punk pile. I still think Punk is quite fine. They still end up on a nice board, can put up some good negates basically, but still nothing compared to the decks that will end up in the higher category here. Then we have Sky Striker, which at the current moment, in my opinion, is a bit power crept and not the strongest. I would also put this in the B category. I would put this, we are once again talking average player, right? So I have to make this clear. I always talk about what the average player can do with this deck, not the pro. I think if you can play Sky Striker very well, then you can do a lot here. It's also possible to combine the Sky Striker engine together with the Snake Eyes engine, definitely a very strong version. But all in all, I would say for the average player, Sky Striker will be one of the harder decks and one of the decks that you won't have that much success with. Then we have Scareclaw, pure Scareclaw, which I definitely have not seen on the ladder for a while. Nothing new that they have gotten here. They have still their normal play where they go for the boss monster and then sit on the boss monster and yeah, call it a day. I think going second, this can be a very successful variant, which is why I won't put this in the bottom tier, because I think if you play a dedicated going second version here, you can definitely surprise some people and win some games. I would also put this over Sky Striker because I think just the medium player can pick this deck up. Now that I think about it, we'll also put it over here. The medium player can pick this deck up and really win some games quite easily. You can definitely reach Master 1 with this. I would suggest go for a second version where you just go for droplets and stuffs, evenlies, yeah, maybe evenlies, but definitely droplets and maybe dark rulers, and then you go for this guy that is able to attack multiple times and can also do piercing damage and finish your opponent off. Rescue is my most hated deck, as you see on the fun list. I'm really not enjoying this deck, unfortunately. Nevertheless, it's obviously a very strong deck. We will see whether I will put this in the S tier or the A tier. I will for now put it in the S tier. It might end up on the bottom of the S tier. Obviously, this combined with the Snake Eye engine is quite strong. The play that you can do here, just Turbulence and set 4 and be also being able to play very nicely under Max C. That is quite nice. We also have to keep in mind that with the SP Little Knight, this deck will be better because then you can go SP Little Knight first and protect your Turbulence from being impermed or effect veilored, which is definitely very nice, saving your core play a bit more. For now, I will put this here, but this might end up on the bottom of the S tier. We have a Flonderies, which with this graveyard focused strategy is definitely not that bad, though it has been very hard hit in the Master Duel, unfortunately. I will not put this in, will I put this? We have to put something in the C tier. I, for now, will not put it in the C tier. Let's see whether something ends up in the C tier. Maybe we only have S, A, and B. Then I will pull something down in the C tier, but I think Flonderies, it's not really at a good point because a lot of important things are missing, but you can still play Dimension Shifter and it's still very annoying to play it on the ladder. It's also not that hard to grab the deck and just play it, understand how it works. So I think it's still quite solid, and the fact that they can play Shifter is quite nice, which is why I will definitely put it over the Sky Striker deck. We have Runic Naturia, or Naturia. So if we are talking Naturia pure, then I would say this is a C tier deck. If we are talking a Runic Naturia, I think this is still quite solid. I would put it somewhere here over Punk, in my opinion. Can be very solid still. Not a lot of people are expecting this deck and hasn't really lost a lot. Obviously, Fountain at 1 is quite hard, but you have the Naturia engine that gets you into a lot of very strong synchro plays, and then if you can like slow down your opponent considerably, then you can also play stuff like some floodgates. And if you can achieve a lot of advantage through your Runic engine, then that is quite fine. Talking about Runic, pure Runic, a stun version, that is, in my opinion, I have to think about this for a moment. I mean, the stun version can be quite nice. I guess the problem is a lot of floodgates are at 1 at the current moment. If I would play something in the C tier, I would guess it would be Runic here. This 9, I can't really. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I would say it's even better than is Sky Striker, and probably better than is Flaunderies. But yeah, the limitation of most of the floodgates is a bit sad, but you can just still fit them all together and then put them in this Runic engine here. If you combine these with other stun engines, that's way better. Than it would be somewhere at the bottom of A tier, I think, if you play dedicated stun version, but the pure version definitely had its power days. It's not that strong anymore, unfortunately. We have Mikanko, which definitely is still a very strong strategy. I will guess this will end up somewhere at the bottom of A tier in the end. A going second kill strategy is always strong in Master Duel, hence why I'm very concerned for Temper Dragon. If you have not seen that video, it's linked up in the right corner. We have Exorcistas, which at the moment I think it's quite nice. I will put this over here, not over this one, but you can play Shifter. That is also strong as always. You have the ability to access or to banish stuff even from the graveyard, which will be more important with Tear Elements becoming a bit stronger again. So Exorcista, a very, very solid pick. Not a lot of people are playing this deck, but you can definitely do very cool stuff with it. And as I already said, being able to play Shifter, that is just strong. We have Traptrix here, which I guess this is the first deck I will put in the C category. Not because it's a bad deck, you can definitely read Master 1 with it, it's not a bad deck, but in comparison to all the other decks we have talked about, I think this is not at a very nice point. This is by far the worst of the 2 trap decks. And yeah, doesn't really pack any punch, has not really any options to be super effective against the meta. Besides, you can put stuff in, obviously, like Daruma Karma Cannon, but Daruma Karma Cannon isn't even that great in Traptrix because you don't want to destroy your own Sarah. So it all doesn't really work out. So in my opinion, one of the worst decks, even though, don't get me wrong, you can take this, you can go to Master 1 with it. This is not the point, right? We have Kashtira, that is definitely an A tier deck. In my opinion, it is better than Exorcista. Can also play the Battle Shifter, which is very nice, into the meta. The Kashtira cards are still very nice, being the Unicorn and the Fenrir. Super, super strong. You still have access to your Kashtira Rise at boss monster, so it's a no-brainer that this deck is still good. Then we have Branded, which I would put probably in the S tier category somewhere here. Not at the top, but we will see where it ends up. In the end, though they have hit multiple things in Branded, it's still amazingly strong. It has also a very nice matchup into the Fire decks, which we will obviously get Fire Kings also, I would then guess, in the next pack in June. So it has a really nice matchup into these decks. It will have a really nice matchup into Voiceless Voice coming soon, but obviously this does not concern the current state of the meta, but has a nice matchup into the Snake Eye stuff, so which is why I put it here. And the engine itself is just very, very strong still. It's even though we have Branded Fusion at 1, not that hard to get access to your Branded Fusion. Then we have Tear Elements, which will get a new boost with the Horus cards here. Unfortunately, I think they will become A tier again. We'll have to think about where I will put them here. I guess I would put them at somewhere at the. I guess I would put them over these decks. I mean, you have to understand that if you play an Exorcister deck against a Tear Elements deck, then you will probably want to play the Exorcister deck just because it's a good counter against Tear Elements because of all the Dimension Shifter and Banishment stuff. But Tier definitely with the Horus cards will become better. I think what's holding Tier back from becoming very good once again, like it became in the TCG when the Horus stuff came out, is the fact that we really have very hard hits here in Master Duel, probably the hardest hits. I'm at the moment not super aware of the OCG hits, but the fact that we don't have, for example, the Merly means we have one less fusion card. That is really rough. It would have been way better for this deck to have Chiron at 1 and not at 2 and Merly at 1, so we still have a Merly. This also killed the Sprite, not the Sprite Elf, yeah, also the Sprite Elf play, but also the how is the Sprite Sprint play, which was a safe play into a fusion. But yeah, I mean we still have the Tier Elements Kit Carlos, but without the full fusion array, that is very hard. But I think, as I already said, with the horror stuff, that will be better once again. The horror stuff in itself is strong as an engine. We will rank it as a pure engine also later on. We have Rika, which is a very nice combo deck. I would definitely put this somewhere here at the upper portions of the B tier, somewhere here, I would say. Not that nice going second, but can put in a specific going second stuff. There is room in this engine to do that, and I would definitely suggest you go ahead and do that. Stuff like Dark Ruler, for example, evenly matched Forbidden Droplets maybe. It's tough to play into a board with Rika, but if you can go first, then it's very, very nice. We have Sword Soul, which is still just a solid deck. The medium player can take it to the ladder and be quite successful with it, which is why I would definitely put it somewhere here at the top of the B tier. I really like it. I would put this over pure Scareclaw, I guess. Sword Soul is just an old reliable that is still good. You still have the Protoss lock, which is quite nice, also against Snake Eyes, for example, so that is still up there. We have Dragon Link, definitely weaker than it was before, but still able to do some mean, nasty combos, which is why I would put it over some like here over Rika. We have Heroes. If you have the complete deck and you have invested so much money, then you should definitely play this deck. It's also not the weakest, though. In my opinion, also not the strongest, even with all the additions that it has gotten. I would put it somewhere here at the bottom of the B tier, but over decks like these here, because at the moment they are really not that strong. Heroes definitely can put up an amazing board, has this new trap interaction where it can really destroy a lot of stuff, summoning the new fusion guy, so definitely not bad. We have a Sprite, not seen on the ladder for a long time here, but still not an unsolid strategy that you can mix with other stuff still. So I would put it here somewhere in the middle of the B tier. Not something that you want to pick up in the current meta environment, because power level wise it's just worse than the good decks. Then we have Labyrinth, which, no surprise, you will put it in the S tier. We will have to rearrange the S tier afterwards, but I think this is better than Beredesper in my opinion. We have Mathmech, which in my opinion also still goes into the S tier, though at the bottom here nothing really happened to Mathmech. The combo is still in full power with 3 circular, yeah, with 1 diameter, but it doesn't really matter. This deck is nice going second and very good going first. It's basically an OTK going first, because if you can establish the entire board, it's very crazy. Then we have Pearly, once again an S tier deck, if you ask me. Very nice if we don't have any side decks here, because people cannot really prepare for the Black Hat. They might put in the Herald of the Abyss to counter the Pearly Noir, but that's not that amazing. And now with the new little Black Hat, you have better access into your strong play. Also, drawing 6 or drawing 4 is very insane. Drawing into your hand trap, stopping your opponent, so that is very strong. Pearly definitely one of the top players. Evolzalas representing the Dinos here, which definitely are at full power now concerning all the cards they need from the TCG, as far as I'm aware. I think Dinos is quite a nice deck. The Evolzalas specifically is very, very strong, so if you have the deck and you can play it, I think this is definitely something that we have to put here at the top of the B tier category. Definitely have to give respect for. So for all of you, I was a big Dino fan back in the days when I was a kid. For all of you Dino fans, go ahead and pick this deck up. So now we come to the interesting part, right? Let's first talk about Infernoble Knights. I think as a solid combo deck, we will have to put them. I will put them over Rika. This is a better combo deck than Rika. This is a better combo deck than Dragon Link, and also this should be here. I would say this is better than Runic Naturia ? And here is where I guess I will put this, because I don't think, in my opinion, it's better than Runic Naturia, because it has not the easiest time going second, and Runic Naturia is very balanced when it comes to going second and going first. I would say Runic Naturia all in all with the stronger point here. We have Snake as well, the last deck that is old, and obviously this is S tier, obviously this is top of S tier, we don't even have to talk about this. Let's rearrange this quickly here now that we have it. I would rearrange it like this, I would say. You could also make an argument for putting this over this. but it definitely should look something like this. So then we have the memento stuff, which I have talked about this in a little video. You can go check that out on the channel, where I've shown you what this deck can do with all the new support. We still don't know how much support we will get. I'm going to be blunt here. If we just get the first support wave, this is a C tier deck that you should not pick up. If you also get the second support wave, which can then make with one card these, I think it was 7 interruptions, which 5 of them were on one single monster and combined with one single trap card, and those were all monster negates, which is a bit dangerous. But yeah, it's one card and 7 negates. That is not bad. That is nearly as good as Snake Eyes, but the negates are way worse than in Snake Eyes. So if we get the more full power version of this deck, I would think this is something like a solid tier B deck, I would say. But yeah, remains to be seen. And then we also have another support wave, which I think we won't get at this point, which has just released in the OCG, and remains to be seen how good the deck will be there with the new support wave. We have Salamangreat at full power basically, and all the power, all the fire stuff is there, Promethean Princess and stuff like this. Now this is definitely, in my opinion, an A tier deck. It's very, very nice. I would definitely not place this over the Rescue Ace. I would also not place it over Kashira. And then remains to be seen how good the tier element will really work out with the horror stuff. I would assume this is better than is Salamangreat, but definitely an A tier deck in my opinion. Better than these decks, that's for sure. And I would keep the Rescue Ace deck. Yeah, we have to put it in the S tier also. Let's be honest here. We have to put it in the S tier, but it stays at the bottom of the S tier. And then we have Horus. As I already said, this will be integrated in the tier elements deck, so if you still have your tier element cards, then that's nice. But Horus as a pure engine, you can also play this. Horus, if we get, and it seems to be the case, we get the full Horus stuff here, then you can go play a Horus control version, which is definitely quite nice and can get or can give some of the better decks up here, for example Snake Eyes, can give them a hard time. This still is not like the strongest deck ever. This is not an S tier deck on its own, but this is a solid A tier deck, which I would definitely prefer playing over these decks here. But I guess Salamangreat just is a better all-in-all overall power deck than in comparison to Horus pure. I think Horus was never designed in order to be a super pure deck, but to be a very strong splashable engine that we would see in a lot of decks, and it's very strong, giving you access to strong level 8 rank XYZ monsters. So this is my tier list coming the next pack that will probably release in the next week. We can quickly check that out, normally on the 10th or something. So 10th would be Friday, so maybe on the 9th, the Thursday, maybe on the 10th, the Friday. That would be awesome, because then I have time to stream all day. Maybe this will happen. Let me know in the comments what you think of this tier list. Where would you make adjustments? Thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.